God says, listen closely, my beloved soul. Before you scroll, before you doubt, before your mind tells you this is just another message, pause for a moment and breathe, because what you are about to hear is not about fear, it is not about panic, and it is not about control, it is about awareness, clarity, and protection. You have felt something shifting around you recently, haven't you? A subtle change in the atmosphere, a sense that conversations are happening that you are not part of, a quiet tension that you cannot fully explain. That feeling was not random. It was your spirit sensing movement behind the scenes. Archangel Michael is not speaking to frighten you but to steady you, because when heaven speaks urgently, it is not to threaten you, it is to guide you before confusion tries to cloud your peace. There are moments in life when doors close quietly, and there are moments when discussions happen about your future without your presence, and in those moments, the natural reaction is fear. But this is not a message of fear. This is a message of preparation. You are not being removed from something as punishment. You are being repositioned for alignment. Sometimes when people gather to discuss your removal, what they are truly doing is revealing that your season in that environment has reached its limit. Not because you failed, not because you were unworthy, but because your growth no longer fits within that space. And when growth outgrows its container, movement becomes necessary. Archangel Michael stands as a protector, not as a commander of chaos. When he says this message is only for you, it is because not everyone will understand the transition you are stepping into. Some people around you may misinterpret the changes happening. Some may assume loss. Some may whisper doubt. But heaven sees advancement where others see rejection. You must understand this deeply. Being discussed does not mean being defeated. Being evaluated does not mean being erased. Sometimes it means heaven is orchestrating a redirection that your current vision cannot yet comprehend. You have been praying for change, even if you did not use those exact words. You have been asking for relief, for growth, for something better than what has felt heavy or limiting. And when change begins, it rarely announces itself gently. It often begins with tension, with meetings, with conversations you cannot control. But what if those conversations are actually clearing the path? What if what feels like removal is actually release? Release from stagnation, release from an environment that underestimated you, release from a situation that quietly drained your energy. Do not let secrecy disturb you. When the message says do not tell anyone, it is not about isolation, it is about inner composure. This is a season where silence strengthens you. Not silence out of fear, but silence out of wisdom. Not every shift needs commentary. Not every movement requires explanation. Some transitions are sacred. Some decisions unfold quietly because heaven is protecting the process from interference. You are being asked to observe, not react. To stay centered, not scattered. There is a meeting, yes. There are discussions, yes. But there is also divine oversight. Nothing about your life moves without permission passing through heaven's awareness. Even when people believe they are in control of your outcome, they are not in control of your destiny. Destiny does not bend to human agendas. Destiny aligns with divine timing. And if something is being removed, it is only because something greater is being prepared. Archangel Michael does not step in to warn without stepping in to defend. Think about the patterns in your life. Every time something ended that you thought you could not survive without, something unexpected followed. Every closed door forced you into growth you did not think you had the strength for. Every rejection redirected you towards something that matched you better. The mind fears removal. The spirit recognizes promotion. The mind sees loss. The spirit sees transition. You are not being erased. You are being elevated beyond a place that has reached its expiration date. Stay calm in the next hours. Watch without panic. Listen without assuming the worst. Do not allow anxiety to speak louder than faith. This is not the end of your stability. It is the adjustment of your alignment. Sometimes meetings are held not to dismiss you but to discuss how to move you somewhere else. Sometimes the very people who think they are deciding your removal are unknowingly positioning you for your breakthrough. Heaven works quietly. Protection often looks invisible. But the shield is real. And if you have felt recently like something was about to change, that intuition was not false. You were sensing preparation. Preparation for a shift. Preparation for a redirection. Preparation for a season where you will look back and realize that what once terrified you was actually the turning point. Do not panic in the face of uncertainty. Stand steady. You are covered. You are guided. You are not alone in this moment. This message reached you not by accident but by alignment. You were meant to hear reassurance, not intimidation. There is no witch, no curse, no hidden destruction chasing you. There is only movement. And movement is necessary when stagnation becomes comfortable. Trust that if something is being discussed about you, heaven is also speaking on your behalf. Trust that if doors shift, they shift under divine supervision. Trust that if you are moved upward. Now take a breath. Release fear. Stand in quiet confidence. Whatever meeting is happening, whatever decision is forming, it cannot cancel what God has written over your life. If something leaves, it leaves because it is no longer strong enough to hold your future. If something changes, it changes because your next level requires new ground. Do not shrink in anticipation. Expand in expectation. What you must understand right now is that when movement begins around your name, when conversations begin circulating about your position, your future, or your presence in a certain place, it does not automatically mean something negative is unfolding, because sometimes the very discussion that feels threatening is actually the signal that your life is transitioning into a higher alignment. And the discomfort you sense is simply the friction between your old season and your new one trying to take form. You have been sensing a shift for a while now, a subtle change in how people respond to you, a different tone in conversations, a strange distance or unusual attention, and instead of panicking, you are being asked to observe with spiritual maturity because not every shift is an attack. And not every meeting is meant to diminish you. Some meetings exist to rearrange what no longer fits the version of you that is emerging. There are moments when heaven allows circumstances to rearrange your surroundings because staying where you are would quietly limit you, and you would not leave on your own because comfort can feel safer than growth, but growth demands motion, and motion requires change, and change often begins with conversations that you are not invited into. That does not mean you are powerless. It means your destiny is bigger than the room you are currently standing in. When Archangel Michael speaks about urgency, it is not to frighten you into panic but to awaken you into awareness, because awareness is power, and once you understand that transitions are not punishments but preparations, your perspective changes from fear to faith. You stop seeing removal as rejection and start recognizing it as redirection. Think about how many times in your past something ended suddenly and you felt betrayed by the timing, only to realize later that it protected you from something you could not yet see. The human mind resists sudden change because it craves stability, but the spirit recognizes when stability has turned into stagnation. If people are gathering to discuss your removal, it may be because your presence disrupts comfort zones, because your growth exposes limitations in systems that prefer familiarity over excellence. Sometimes when you outgrow a place, that place begins to feel uneasy around you. Not because you did something wrong, but because your evolution challenges the structure. And structures that are unwilling to evolve will often attempt to release what they cannot control. But here is the deeper truth you must hold tightly: no human discussion can override divine intention. Even if a decision is made without your input, the outcome cannot surpass what is written over your life. You are not subject to hidden agendas when heaven has already authored your path. The meeting may happen. The conversation may unfold. Plans may be discussed. Yet above every earthly decision is a higher authority that ensures that what leaves your life does so because it has completed its purpose. Nothing that is meant for your long-term destiny can be removed prematurely. And nothing that is meant to end can remain indefinitely. Do not let your imagination create worst-case scenarios. The mind can exaggerate uncertainty into catastrophe, but faith disciplines the mind into clarity. You are not being ambushed. You are being adjusted. There is a difference. Ambush destroys stability. Adjustment refines alignment. If you feel tension, it is because transformation is rarely silent. Growth stretches you. It forces you to stand steady while things shift around you. It requires you to trust what you cannot yet confirm. This is not the moment to spiral into doubt. This is the moment to ground yourself in confidence. Your value does not decrease because someone questions your position. Your worth is not measured by a vote or a discussion. Your destiny is not determined by opinion. And understand this clearly: sometimes when people believe they are planning your exit, they are unknowingly activating your entrance into something greater. The very conversation that seems threatening can become the catalyst that propels you forward. When one door tightens, another prepares to open. But you must remain composed enough to walk through it without resentment. Do not react emotionally. Do not confront prematurely. Do not allow fear to dictate your behavior. Silence in this season is strength. Observe. Pray. Reflect. Prepare. Your response will determine whether this transition empowers you or exhausts you. There is also a lesson here about identity. When your identity is tied too tightly to a position, a role, or a location, any discussion about losing it feels like losing yourself. But you are more than a title. You are more than a placement. You are more than a seat at a table. If that seat is removed, it is because another table is being prepared. And the table prepared for you will not require you to shrink to remain seated. You will not have to convince anyone of your worth in your next season. Alignment feels natural. You will not have to force belonging. You may not see the full picture yet, but you do not need to. Faith is not about having all the details, it is about trusting the author. If you are being repositioned, it is because your current environment cannot sustain the magnitude of what is coming. Promotion often begins with discomfort. Breakthrough often begins with uncertainty. Elevation often begins with quiet detachment from what once felt permanent. And in those moments, heaven asks you one thing: do not panic. Trust the process. Let this settle in your heart: nothing about your life is random. If conversations are happening about you, it is because movement is required. If something shifts, it is because growth is calling. If something ends, it is because completion has arrived. And completion is not failure, it is fulfillment of purpose. You were not meant to remain in one chapter forever. Every chapter prepares you for the next. And sometimes the page turns whether you are ready or not. But readiness is built through trust. Remain steady. Guard your thoughts. Do not share your fears with those who thrive on negativity. Keep your energy centered. Prepare yourself mentally for opportunity rather than loss. When change arrives, meet it with dignity. Walk forward without bitterness. Remember that even if someone tries to remove you, they cannot remove what God has established within you. Your gifts remain. Your calling remains. Your destiny remains. This hour is not about fear. It is about awareness. It is about standing grounded while heaven rearranges the background of your life. Trust that if something is shifting, it is shifting for your advancement. You are not being erased. You are being elevated beyond what could no longer contain you. Stay calm. Stay focused. Stay faithful. The transition unfolding now will make sense soon, and when it does, you will realize that what felt urgent was actually protection guiding you forward. There is something deeper unfolding behind the visible circumstances, something that cannot be measured by rumors, meetings, or silent conversations taking place in rooms you are not inside, because what is truly happening is a spiritual separation between who you used to be and who you are becoming, and that separation always creates tension before it creates clarity. You have felt it in subtle ways, in the way certain environments no longer feel aligned, in the way certain people respond differently to your growth, in the way your intuition has been nudging you to prepare for change even before any clear evidence appeared. This is not coincidence, it is preparation. When destiny begins to shift, it does not announce itself loudly at first, it whispers through restlessness, through discomfort, through a quiet sense that something familiar is nearing completion. You may feel like you are being evaluated, observed, or quietly assessed, and that sensation can trigger anxiety if you interpret it through fear, but if you interpret it through awareness, you will realize that evaluation often precedes elevation. When someone's life is expanding, when their potential is stretching beyond the boundaries of their current position, conversations begin to form around them because their presence no longer fits neatly inside the old structure. And sometimes people do not know how to handle growth that surpasses their expectations, so they attempt to contain it or redirect it, not out of pure malice but out of discomfort. Growth disrupts comfort. Excellence exposes complacency. Light reveals areas that preferred to remain unseen. If there truly is a discussion about your removal, understand that removal is not always loss. Sometimes it is release. And release is not rejection. It is transition. There are seasons where you are planted to learn, to develop, to sharpen your skills, to gain experience, and once that lesson has completed its purpose, the soil you were planted in no longer nourishes you the same way. Staying too long in one place can slowly diminish your momentum. Heaven does not allow stagnation to define your future. When it is time to move, movement will begin whether you initiated it or not. And what feels like someone else's decision may actually be divine orchestration disguised as circumstance. Do not underestimate the protection woven into sudden shifts. There are times when staying would have drained you slowly, when remaining would have entangled you in conflicts you did not create, when continuing would have tied your identity too tightly to something temporary. If something is being rearranged, it may be because you were being shielded from unseen complications. Protection does not always look gentle. Sometimes it looks abrupt. Sometimes it looks like doors closing before you had time to adjust. But closed doors are not personal attacks, they are directional signs guiding you toward alignment. The key in this moment is emotional discipline. Your reaction matters more than the event itself. If you respond with panic, you will exhaust yourself before clarity arrives. If you respond with bitterness, you will carry unnecessary weight into your next season. But if you respond with steadiness, you will transition with strength. This is a season of quiet confidence. You do not need to defend yourself aggressively. You do not need to confront every whisper. You do not need to force reassurance from others. Your stability will speak louder than your arguments. The calmness you maintain will reflect the faith you carry. Remember how many times in your life something unexpected forced you into growth. The job you did not get led to a better opportunity. The relationship that ended created space for healthier connections. The environment that rejected you pushed you into self-discovery. At the time, each moment felt uncomfortable, even unfair, but later it revealed itself as alignment. This current situation is no different. It may feel urgent because uncertainty is uncomfortable, but urgency does not equal disaster. It simply means movement is near. And movement, when guided by purpose, is always beneficial even if it feels unsettling at first. You are not defined by a role. You are not limited to one opportunity. You are not dependent on one group of people to validate your existence. If a table is preparing to remove your chair, it is because your destiny requires a different table entirely. The people meant for your next chapter will not question your value, they will recognize it naturally. The space meant for you will not feel strained, it will feel expansive. You will not have to fight to belong. Alignment does not require struggle, it requires readiness. This is also a time to strengthen your inner foundation. When external circumstances feel unstable, your inner clarity must become stronger. Spend time reflecting on who you are beyond your environment. Strengthen your skills. Refine your focus. Prepare yourself mentally for opportunity rather than loss. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" begin asking, "What is this preparing me for?" That shift in perspective transforms fear into growth. It turns uncertainty into anticipation. It changes panic into purpose. There is something powerful about being discussed behind closed doors. It means your presence matters. It means your actions have impact. It means your name carries influence. People do not gather to discuss someone who has no effect. Your significance is evident even if it feels intimidating. But significance must be paired with humility. Stay grounded. Do not allow pride or anger to cloud your judgment. This is not the moment to prove yourself loudly. It is the moment to trust yourself quietly. Above all, trust that divine authority surpasses human decisions. No meeting can cancel what has been assigned to you. No vote can erase what has been written over your future. Even if a transition happens, it will happen because it is time, not because you were powerless. And when the dust settles, you will look back and realize that what felt like an urgent warning was actually a divine repositioning. The conversation behind the scenes is not about your destruction, it is about your direction. Stay steady. Stay aware. Stay faithful. The shift is not meant to harm you, it is meant to elevate you into the next level of your journey. What is unfolding right now is not chaos, even if it feels uncertain, and it is not betrayal, even if it feels personal. It is alignment adjusting itself in ways you cannot fully see yet, because when your life begins to rise beyond its previous limitations, pressure increases before promotion becomes visible, and conversations begin before confirmations arrive. And that is why this moment feels intense but strangely purposeful at the same time. You are standing at a threshold where old access is closing and new authority is quietly forming, and the reason this feels urgent is not because you are in danger but because your position in life is shifting faster than you expected, and rapid change often feels uncomfortable even when it is beneficial. There are forces working in your favor that you cannot see, and there are delays being prevented that you will never know about, and there are complications being removed before they even reach you, and that is why you must not interpret silence as abandonment or movement as loss, because the unseen protection around you is more active than you realize. If a decision is being discussed, understand that no human decision overrides divine timing. People may talk, they may plan, they may evaluate, but what is meant to remain in your life will remain with stability, and what is meant to exit will exit with purpose, and neither outcome diminishes your worth. Sometimes you are removed from a place because you have outgrown it, not because you failed within it, and sometimes conversations about you are happening because your potential makes others uncomfortable, not because you are unqualified. Growth can intimidate those who are not ready for it, and strength can create tension in spaces that prefer sameness, and confidence can unsettle environments built on insecurity. So if you sense movement around your name, do not panic. It means you are visible, and visibility precedes transition. This is the moment where your response becomes more important than the outcome itself. Do not react impulsively, do not allow fear to speak louder than faith, and do not make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Stay grounded. Stay observant. Stay internally steady. There is a difference between urgency and anxiety, and you must learn to feel that difference. Urgency means something is shifting. Anxiety means you are resisting the shift. When you stop resisting, clarity replaces confusion. When you stop assuming loss, you begin to see opportunity. You are not being cornered, you are being repositioned. And repositioning can feel uncomfortable because it requires you to let go of familiar ground before stepping onto new terrain. Think about how many times in your past you feared change only to later realize it was necessary. The moments that once felt like endings later revealed themselves as beginnings. The separation that once felt painful later brought peace. The closure that once felt unfair later created expansion. This pattern is repeating, not to test you but to elevate you. You are being asked to trust the process before you see the proof. And trust does not mean passivity. It means preparation. Strengthen your skills. Refine your mindset. Organize your priorities. Do not wait for confirmation to prepare for opportunity. Preparation is the language of belief. If you are being moved, you will land in a place that matches your next level. If you are being evaluated, it is because your capacity is expanding. If conversations are happening behind closed doors, it is because your presence carries weight. And weight means impact. Impact means relevance. Relevance means purpose. You are not invisible. You are not insignificant. You are not easily replaceable. And if someone attempts to replace you, they will discover that presence is not easily duplicated. What you bring cannot be copied. What you carry cannot be manufactured. What you have endured has shaped you in ways that make you rare. There is also something else unfolding. Your resilience is strengthening. Every uncertain season has been teaching you emotional discipline. You are learning to remain calm while others panic. You are learning to remain patient while others rush. You are learning to remain focused while others speculate. That discipline is your advantage. Do not underestimate it. Stability in the midst of movement makes you powerful. When you are not shaken easily, you become unmovable in spirit even if your surroundings change physically. This chapter is not about removal, it is about revelation. It is revealing who truly supports you. It is revealing where your loyalty should remain and where it should not. It is revealing which environments were assignments and which were attachments. Not every place you enter is meant to be permanent. Some spaces are stepping stones. Some people are teachers. Some seasons are temporary training grounds. And once the lesson is complete, staying longer only delays your next level. You must also guard your thoughts carefully. Do not create worst-case scenarios in your mind. Do not assume rejection before it happens. Do not allow imagination to produce fear. Facts are not yet final. Outcomes are not yet decided. And even if they were, they would not override destiny. The path ahead may not look identical to the path behind, but it will lead to growth. And growth is the evidence of purpose. You are not being removed, you are being redirected. You are not being silenced, you are being repositioned. You are not losing control, you are being guided toward clarity. When the final decision becomes visible, you will see that what felt urgent was actually necessary. And when you step into the next phase, you will recognize that this moment was the bridge, not the breakdown. Remain steady. Remain faithful. Remain prepared. The unseen conversation is not the end of your story, it is the turning point that leads you exactly where you were always meant to go. If this message resonated deeply with your spirit, do not scroll away silently. Comment, "I trust the shift," below as your declaration of faith. Like this video so this encouragement reaches someone else who needs clarity today. Share it with someone standing at a crossroads, and subscribe so you never miss the next message meant specifically for your journey.